I've been working as an Amazon delivery driver for 3 years. It's a decent gig, long hours, but the pay is steady. Over time, you start recognizing addresses, memorizing faces, and even developing a sixth sense for weird deliveries. You know the ones: remote locations, abandoned buildings, places where no one should be ordering packages. One evening, around 7:45 p.m., I was nearing the end of my shift when I got a last-minute delivery. The address was far, right on the edge of town, past the residential areas, where houses were miles apart. The streetlights became fewer and fewer until the only source of illumination was my truck's high beams. When I finally arrived, my GPS announced, "You have reached your destination." I pulled up in front of an old, rotting house. The porch sagged under the weight of time. The windows were covered in grime, and the mailbox looked like it hadn't been touched in years. But the most unsettling part? My scanner displayed the recipient's name, Mr. Holloway. That's my last name. I frowned, glancing at the package. There was no return address, just my last name and this house. A cold sweat formed on my back, but I convinced myself it was a coincidence. Maybe there was another Holloway in town. I grabbed the package, walked up the creaking steps, and knocked. No answer. The wind howled through the trees, whispering like a distant voice. I turned to leave when I heard a slow, deliberate creak. The front door opened on its own. A musty, decayed stench rolled out from the darkness inside. The hallway stretched unnaturally far, as if the house was bigger on the inside. I held my breath, straining to hear any sound, any indication of life. Then, a whisper. "You finally come home." Every muscle in my body locked up. I couldn't breathe. The voice had come from inside the house. My instincts screamed at me to run, but before I could move, the package in my hands grew heavy. I looked down, and my heart stopped. The box was open. I hadn't opened it. Inside was an old, faded photograph. A black and white image of me, standing on that very porch, holding the same package. But the date on the bottom corner? 1956. A shadow moved inside the house. I didn't stay to see who or what it was. I ran to my truck, slammed the door shut, and sped away. My scanner beeped wildly, and when I checked, the address had disappeared from the system. No house, no delivery record. I checked that location the next day. It was nothing but an empty lot. Being a delivery driver means going to some of the most isolated places imaginable. Most people don't think about how far Amazon reaches. We deliver to deep rural areas, to houses miles away from civilization. I used to love it, until I took a job in the woods. It was about 9:30 p.m. when I arrived at my last stop. The house was deep in the forest, accessible only by a long, winding dirt road. The trees were so thick that they blocked out the moonlight. My headlights barely cut through the darkness, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. When I finally reached the house, I was surprised. It wasn't run down or abandoned. It was a well-kept cabin, its porch light glowing warmly, but there were no cars, no footprints, no sounds. Just eerie stillness. I stepped out and placed the package on the porch. As I took my proof of delivery photo, something caught my eye. Between the trees, just beyond the porch light's glow, a figure stood watching me. It was tall, unnaturally tall. I couldn't see a face, just a long, slender silhouette. At first, I thought it was a tree, but then it moved. A low clicking sound filled the air, like insects chittering inside my head. The figure shifted closer, not stepping, just appearing, closer each time I blinked. I turned and rushed back to my truck, but as I yanked the door open, I heard a heavy thud, from above me. My breath hitched, my hands were shaking. Slowly, I looked up. Something was crawling down the side of the cabin. Its limbs were bent at horrifying angles, its fingers too long and too sharp. And its face, oh God, its face wasn't human. I don't remember getting into my truck. I don't remember starting the engine. All I know is that I drove faster than I ever have in my life. When I checked my delivery scanner, a new notification appeared. Reattempt delivery, address not found. I quit the next day. Apartment complexes are the worst. No one answers their buzzers. You have to carry heavy packages up endless flights of stairs, and you never know what kind of people you'll meet. But the worst apartment I ever delivered to was 6B. It was nearly midnight, and I was exhausted. The building was old and barely maintained, the kind of place where the hallways smelled like mildew, and the lights flickered like something out of a horror movie. When I reached apartment 6B, I knocked. No answer. I knocked again. Then, from inside, a whisper. "Come in." A shiver crawled down my spine. We never enter customers' homes. I placed the package down and turned to leave, but then I noticed something. Someone was watching me through the peephole. A single, unblinking eye stared at me. Then the door creaked open. A man stood there. But something was wrong. His face was too smooth, his grin too wide. His teeth looked like they had been filed into sharp points. He didn't blink. He didn't move. I backed away, my breath coming fast. "Your package is here," I stammered. He just kept grinning. I turned and ran down the hall. When I looked back, the door to 6B was gone. Just a solid wall where the apartment should have been. The leasing office later confirmed it. Apartment 6B hadn't existed for over 20 years. Have you ever had a moment where your gut told you to turn back, but you didn't? Have you ever seen something you couldn't explain, something that haunted you long after it was over? If you have experienced anything chilling, eerie, or downright terrifying, we want to hear it. Share your true horror stories in the comments below, because sometimes the scariest tales come from real life. If these stories gave you chills, hit that like button to let us know you love these terrifying true tales. Subscribe for more spine-tingling stories delivered straight to you every week. And if you think you're brave enough, share this with your friends. But don't say we didn't warn them. Because out there, in the dark corners of reality, not every package should be delivered, and not every door should be knocked on. Stay haunted. Stay curious. See you in the next nightmare.